welcome to my channel. My name is Bridget. I'm a nurse practitioner. So I'm going back to school for psych NP school. I'm just sighing because I've been in school for so long. I started my journey with an associate's degree, went back to school for a bachelor's, then went back to school to graduate school for nurse educator, went back to school for family nurse practitioner, and now back to school for psych nurse practitioner. Why am I doing this? I have always had a passion for psych. I did work in psych as a nurse and I love that population. They hold a special place in my heart. I taught psych at a university in Central Florida for 6 years as an adjunct faculty. I lectured on schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety disorders at this university. And after just being around the block for so much, being in this profession for so long, I realized I love teaching, I love education, I love working from home. I don't want to work in person anymore. I love teaching and I was denied that opportunity. I'll go more into that. So if I can't teach, I love working from home. I don't want to work in a clinic in person anymore if I can help it. And what I've noticed is as a family nurse practitioner, even though it is possible to find work from home positions, psych is more conducive to work from home positions. I get emails from the remote nurse and many positions that are available are more for psych nurse practitioner, work from home psych. They want that psych NP degree. I feel like going back to school for this will open many doors for me. I did want to talk a little bit about the bizarre experience I had with that university. I taught at a university for 6 years. I had a great relationship with the professor that I was teaching with. I really admired and honestly, I cared for the other person. When I started was a professor in the course and I taught alongside of her, and then she got promoted to a higher position in the university. I do feel like she was advocating for me. I don't feel like she was the one that kind of stabbed me in the back. But so why am I talking about this? I don't know, because I have ADHD and I ramble, but I wanted to put this out there. So I don't do anything half-assed. Like I put my whole heart into it, whether I'm working as a nurse practitioner, whether I'm teaching. There's something about education, and that's my channel initially was education. When I was teaching my students, the lectures I was doing for my students, I was modifying them slightly, but then using that to make my YouTube videos. And that's why my channel has shifted a little bit more, because creating that educational content is extremely time consuming. So if I was doing it for work, I was killing two birds with one stone. But now I just don't have the time to create that educational content. So it's becoming more of like vlogs and commentaries, medical news commentaries and stuff like that, education still, but in a different manner, not so much like registered nurse RN where she's just straight up educational content textbook. So a position opened up at this university full-time. Now, I've said this before in another video. In 2019, I was offered the position at the same university full-time. I interviewed with the vice chair and with the chair of nursing. She offered me the position to teach full-time, but I was just graduating from FNP school and I turned it down because I said that I wanted to get, and I'm glad I turned it down, because if I had taken that position at that time, I would have pigeonholed myself only to education and close the doors to other opportunities. I was just graduating. I said, I really want to get experience as a family nurse practitioner. So flash forward to earlier this year when a position becomes available. I'm trying to apply for it, and all of a sudden I'm told, oh, well, there's already 2 other candidates, just FYI, right? But I've been working for you for 6 years. I have a master's degree in nursing education. I have a postmaster's as a family nurse practitioner. Wouldn't the experience that I already have, I was speaking to another educator that teaches at another university, and she said this interview should have been a formality. My evaluations with my students, phenomenal. They all had excellent things to say about me. So my evaluations were excellent. I have the education, I have the experience. The interview comes and it felt like a decision had already been made. It felt like they were interviewing me. It felt like the interview was a formality, but not because they had decided they were going to give me the position, because they had already decided on another candidate. Very intuitive as a person, and the energy was just way off. It just felt like they had already made a decision. And it makes me think about if you heard the story about I'm gonna basically read the headline here, but the New England Patriots coach, Bill Belichick, accidentally texted Brian Flores to congratulate him on the New York Giants job, thinking he was Brian Dabble or Dabble, I don't know how they pronounce it. But basically, he accused the NFL of racial discrimination in a lawsuit on Tuesday. So they were both named Brian. Black Brian was going to interview, let's say, on a Wednesday, but he got a text on a Tuesday saying, congratulations, you got the position. So why are you interviewing me on Wednesday? Like, why are you interviewing this Brian on a Wednesday if you already decided that you're going to hire this other Brian, right? And he said that the NFL remains rife with racism, right? Racism still exists. Could it have been some kind of discrimination? Could it have been nepotism? I'll never know. It was just very strange. It did not, I did something, before the interview, I did something extremely stupid. I was working for telemedicine. I was working my full-time position and I was working adjunct. Needless to say, I had 3 jobs. I was like burned out. I was like, okay, I can't. I was so sure I was going to get this position because again, it had been offered to me before. I've been with this company for 6 years. I was so sure. I did something extremely stupid. I quit my full-time position before they even told me that I had this job. Don't do that ever. I quit my full-time position and I interviewed. When I got done with the interview, I told my husband, I was like, I don't think I got that position. I didn't get it. And of course, he's the optimist. He's like, what are you talking about? They love you. Of course, again, every feedback I ever got from the higher ups was how valued I am. They would say things like, when I would run sims with them, your reputation precedes you. Like, everything was good. That being said, anyway, so I got done with the interview and I told my husband, I was like, I don't think I got the position. He said, what are you talking about? You doubt, like, you got this. Like, they'd be crazy not to hire you. They were dragging their feet on letting me know, dragging their feet on letting me know, dragging their feet, they're letting me know. And I think like the worst, what hurt the most is the fact that they didn't have the decency after knowing me, after working side by side with them for 6 years, after working them for 6 years, they didn't have the decency to send me their own letter to let me know, sorry, we went in another direction. No, they sent me a template letter by HR saying, oh, thank you so much. And I was blindsided. Because I was so emotionally invested in this position. And you know, they say all the time, like, we need quality educators. Like, I'm passionate about teaching. I love teaching. I'm not one of those educators or professors that's like, we've all had that grumpy, mean teacher that I'm just like, why are you teaching? Like, it looks like you hate your job. So anyways, I was so emotionally invested. I really wanted the position and I was blindsided that I started crying. I did call the person that I teach with, like my colleague that I work with. I was like, she probably knew already, but I was like, I didn't get the position. And she's just like, I'm so sorry. I vouched for you. I said you were great. I said the students loved you. Look who's here to make an appearance. So I have no hard feelings against her. I truly think that she did go to bat for me, and ultimately there was many other people, which by the way, it was such a bizarre interview. It was a Zoom interview and it was like 6 or 7 people interviewing me. And it wasn't like that previously. It was only 2 people in the room and I didn't feel like I was being attacked left and right. So I resigned as adjunct shortly after. It hurt so bad. Like, it hurt. It hurt so bad. I don't know who got the job. I did. So my sister-in-law was like, why don't you ask them? Again, I just feel like something strange happened, right? Something very strange occurred. And my sister-in-law, I didn't want to even like talk to them anymore. Like, I was so hurt. It's like, the way I react to things may not necessarily be healthy, but I just cut people off and I just wanted to cut ties with them. My sister-in-law was like, why don't you ask them like why they didn't hire you, why they went in a different direction? So I emailed this person that I had been working with for 6 years, not the one I was teaching with. The one I was teaching with in that semester, she had only been with the university for 3 years. I've been there for longer. So I emailed this person that is pretty high up in the company. I asked her, she was at the interview, and I asked her why they didn't select me, and you know, is there anything Like, is there anything, any feedback I could get? Nothing, no response. It stung. It's gonna sting for a while. I think eventually I'll get over it, but God comes through for me. After that, I ended up, the startup I was working with started letting people go. So I lost 2 jobs. I resigned from the teaching position, so didn't have that job. I thought I still have the startup telemed position. They let people go. So I lost 3 jobs in a week, but God is good. And my friend reached out to me and he told me that the company where he works, that they were offering contracts at their position. So I interviewed and I got the position. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm at this position and my contract ends in September. By the way, education doesn't pay. I'm getting paid or nearly double what I would have been making if I had gotten that teaching position. But this is also a contract, so it pays slightly higher. I really like the company I'm working with right now. I like what I'm doing. I'm good at what I'm doing, but my contract ends in September. And at that time, it's kind of up in the air. They could potentially bring me on full time or they could let me go. I bust my behind every day. I have a very hard work ethic. I'm not extrinsically motivated, I'm intrinsically motivated. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's genetic. My mom is an extremely hard worker, but I also have like strong values, like a value system, and I believe in God and just always doing my best regardless of whether people appreciate it or not. So I bust my behind for this company. Even like some people may adopt the approach of, oh, well, I'm only temp, so I'm gonna do the bare minimum until my contract is up, right? That's not me at all. Like, I work as if I'm full-time. I work as if that's my company, right? I take full ownership. That's just my personality. I don't know how to slack or be a slacker. Like, it's just not in my DNA. So I'm busting my behind for this company. I go to all the meetings. I do the best that I can for my patients. I'm really hoping that they hire me full time. Anyway, so after I was just blindsided by the university, there's no certainty other than death, right? My mom always says, I think there's a saying in English, but that the only thing that's certain is like taxes and death. And that's the truth. So the way that I'm working and the way my productivity is, I'd be like, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way they don't hire me. But after what happened with the university, I'm like, well, don't be too sure. Like, it may be possible. They may not bring you on full time. They may not hire you. So I had applied to this university for the psychiatric nurse practitioner before my friend contacted me about this contract position. I had applied and I was like, you know what? Let me go back to school for psych and P. Let me get this degree. That way I just have more options available to me. When I got this acceptance letter in July, it crossed my mind to say, like, I already have a great job. I'm making good money. Do I really want to go back to school full time when I'm working full time? But then you have to learn from your mistakes, right? I said, you know what? I don't want what happened previously to happen to me again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You can't count on what other people are going to do. You can only count on yourself. Even though I think I would be an excellent hire for this company, I don't know what they're thinking. So I'm not going to be closing off any doors. That way, if I don't get hired when my contract ends in September, I'll say, well, at least I still have psych and P school and I have options. And in the meantime, like if I don't get hired, I will have to find something part-time because I've always worked. Since I was 15 years old, I've always had a job. I don't know what it's like not to work. I don't know what it's like not to make my own money. I make more money than my husband, and I just don't think he can afford to pay for the household just by himself on his own income. So I will have to find something part-time if I don't get this full-time position. Like, life is hard, period, but it's harder when you weren't born with a trust fund. It's harder when you don't come from some rich family and you have to figure everything out on your own. That's my story. I'm going back to school for psych and P in order to have more options available to me. I enjoy working from home so that I can continue to work from home because this little nugget doesn't like it when she's left at home all day. So if you see less videos of me, that may be one reason why. I have an autoimmune condition and I have to be kind to my body. Like I can't stress myself so much that it's going to flare up my Sjogren's and affect my health. So, and if I am posting less, that's why. I don't know what you're going through in life, but just be resilient. Do your best to be resilient. I mean, if you have to go to therapy, get help if you need help, but life does throw blows at you, and just do your best to it's okay to be sad and take a moment to cry or whatever, but don't wallow. Like, get back up, be resilient. So life can be hard, but I believe in you. You got this, and have faith that another opportunity will come. So thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.